This is Linda Hunt and the Marketplace Connection. Come and go with us as we visit the 7 cultural mountains where you will receive information that will expand your capacity and upgrade your thinking because God wants to give you more. Join me for the next hour as I connect you to the Marketplace. So happy today that this is the day that the Lord has made, and we do rejoice, and we're glad in it, and we're glad that you are here and that I am here on this wonderful Saturday morning. We welcome you to the Marketplace Connection. I am your host, Connector Linda Hunt, and we have a wonderful broadcast for you because every Saturday morning we get up and come here to inspire you, to encourage you, and most of all, motivate you to use your gifts and your talents that God has given you in the earth. This is that time, and this is the place. This is what the Marketplace Connection is all about. It's the place to be on Saturday morning, and so we welcome you again. And we have a wonderful broadcast, and we are just expecting some of the things that will be said that you will be able to use. And we're going to be talking about today how to live and rule and reign in the earth as a queen. Queendom living. Hey, that's a new term, but we're going to be talking about that and some of the jewels and the keys and the strategies that you can live in the earth and rule and reign in your dominion as a queen. And so we thank you. And so, men, if you got a wife, if you got a girlfriend, if you got a friend, a sister, whatever, go get them. Tell them that the Marketplace Connection is on the air, and we have some fantastic information that is going to be a blessing for your life. And before I get started, I just want to recognize one of my supporters and my advertisers, McEllen and Associates Tax Service, and she has a $99 easy basic tax return. And so we want you to go and visit. This is my friend. This has been my accountant. She is a woman of God, and she is very experienced in knowing how to do, particularly for small businesses. So for those of you that are aspiring entrepreneurs and you need to have your good tax accountant, she is the lady. She is located at 14035 Woodrow Wilson, and that's in Detroit, Michigan, 48238. And her number is 313-883-1928. Again, that number is 313-828-1928. McEllen and Associates Tax Service. Well, I just want to say good morning to this young, beautiful woman that's sitting next to me. And this is my guest, Stephanie Barrage. All right, we got it right. Well, welcome to the Marketplace Connection, Stephanie.
Glad to be here.
Yes, we are so glad to have you. This wonderful woman who is an author. I mean, she is an educator. She is so much and doing so much. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then we're going to get started. And we're going to be talking about jewels for every woman, a guide for queendom living. So Stephanie is a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend, a lover of laughter, and a lover of life, and a child of the Most High King. Yes. Stephanie uses her energetic spirit to empower women to lead their best and most fulfilling life by teaching women how to walk in their queendom. She believes queendom living is a spiritual journey unique to each individual woman. Queendom living is as satisfying as a cool glass of water on a hot summer day.
That's right.
Stephanie's passion for inspiring women to live their life to their fullest is tied to cultivating successful relationships and marriage. She has been married for 25 years. Amen. God bless you. To Patrick. And Stephanie and Patrick have successfully learned how to prayerfully navigate a loving and satisfying marriage. And so we just thank God for you.
Yeah, thank you.
We thank God for this book.
Thank you.
Jewels for Every Woman. A guide for queendom living.
That's
okay. All right. Well, we're going to be talking about queendom. This is a new term here.
Queendom. That's right.
You can't find it in the dictionary.
No, you cannot.
Okay. Well, you've been in the field. We'll start there. You've been in the field of education for over 25 years, Stephanie.
Yes.
So tell us about your journey.
And it has been a journey. It has been a journey. I started my career actually when I was 16 years old. I was a paraprofessional in migrant education in the state of Michigan, and
Okay.
that is how I started. I knew that I wanted to work in education. I knew that my calling was around working with kids and working with families and working with communities. So I spent time there as a paraprofessional at 16 in the summer.
Okay.
And then I ended up going to Western Michigan University to get my teaching certificate, and I was a teacher of English and
Okay.
in the high school, English, in middle school, English and communication. And then I went back to get my master's, and I got a master's in elementary education so that I would be able to have background in elementary education. And I got
Okay.
another master's in administration so that I
Okay.
could move and become a principal, of which I was.
Okay.
I was a principal for around 10 years, well, 8 years, and then I became a superintendent. And right now I'm the associate superintendent at Wayne Risa in Wayne County.
Okay. So, is there other people in your family that are in the field of education
There
that you kind of,
are-
followed?
Definitely.
Okay.
Both of my parents are educators.
Okay.
So definitely followed in their footstep. Life was education in our family.
Okay.
My mother was very clear and instrumental in helping others. That was a big deal for our family. So helping
Okay.
others was something that was just ingrained in us. So
Okay.
education, in fact, when I would come home on breaks from summer, we would go help her get her bulletin boards ready for the next school year. It just was a part of the
Yeah,
process.
your
My
life.
mother
Uh-huh.
retired from teaching. My father was a superintendent as well. So yes,
Wow. Okay. Now-
education was
Okay. Now, is any of your other brothers and sisters?
actually, my sister went into education. We joke and say my brother is the black sheep of the family because he did not. He's an accountant, and so
Okay.
my sister has since retired, and they actually own, which is interesting, a popcorn shop, Chicagoland Popcorn, in Maryville, Indiana. And so education is in our blood. My niece is in education. My
Okay.
husband made the jump. He switched over to education. So
Okay.
yes, my daughter is actually in education, and she's in college
Wow.
right now. So education is
Yeah, you can
It's
see the
what we know.
trend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's what we
yeah,
know.
and those are generational blessings,
And it is.
and it kind of follows, just certain patterns you can see certain patterns to the good, and you can see certain patterns, to the bad in people's families, and people don't realize that the generational blessings,
Yes.
are very real.
Yes.
You know,
Very much so.
Yes, yeah,
Very much so.
Oh my! And so you are currently assistant superintendent and CEO of Academic Redesign Solutions. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So what is Academic Redesign Solutions all
So
about?
that basically started, part of my career was in school turnaround.
Okay.
And so when I was a principal in the Minneapolis Public Schools area back in the 90s, I was doing turnaround work with buildings. And so I
Okay.
would assist with staff, great staff. I've always said that, great teachers, great administrators of turning schools around that are typically been low performing. And
Okay.
so across the United States, people would reach out and say, "Can you help us?" And so that's kind of what kickstarted my company. And Academic Redesign Solutions started to assist other schools with support. So I have people in my organization that will go out and coach, executive coaching, help Board of Eds, help district leadership, help schools, team building leadership. And so it started probably back in 2013 is when I officially said, yeah, we need to do this. I'm getting a lot of calls, and
Okay.
it's been a blessing. So we've been able to work in many different places across the United States, and
Okay.
God is good. God
All
is
right.
good.
So now the assistant superintendent, is that a separate?
That's separate. That is my day job.
Okay,
That's my day
okay.
job, and I work in Wayne County every day. I love it, and so the days typically when I work in the company and go to places, I do it on the weekends, or if I have time off, then I'm able to
Right.
do that. But no, Wayne County Assistant Soup here is what I do on a day-to-day basis. I love it.
Okay.
We work with schools again across our county to support and make sure that our districts have the type of educational services that they need.
Very good.
Yes.
Well, in this day and this time and what's going on in the school systems, it
Yes.
is very much needed.
It is very important, and so we are.
Now, what's the name of that company?
That I work for Wayne Risa, so it's
Wayne Risa.
Regional Educational
Services.
Agency,
Okay.
and we service all schools in the Wayne County area. So that means every district. There are 33 districts. There are 106 PSAs, and we support all. If anything from finance to curriculum instruction, professional development, anything that touches the school, we are there as a
Okay.
support for them. Yes.
Okay. Very good. So you've been married to Patrick Barrage for over 25 years and have done couple ministry workshops. So tell us, what do you feel and how do you feel, that what it takes to have a successful marriage with the workshops that you're doing? What are just some of the things and the tools that you give to some of the people that come to your workshops?
And it's let me say this, marriage is a journey.
Absolutely.
Marriage is a journey.
Yes.
And we always share with everyone. And actually, my husband and I have an anniversary coming up May 25th. So we'll be celebrating our 26th anniversary in a couple of days. But what Pat and I both share with couples is you really have to, and this is, I'm going to say this, centering in on being as Christ-like as possible. We set norms in our marriage early on. We set norms. And Pat and I, we married young. So I'll say at 22, you really don't know who you are at 22. You are going into yourself. So the advice that we always give new couples is you really have to set norms in your marriage because you have two people that come from two different cultures. I don't care where you're coming from. You have two different households that are coming together. And one household will believe that their way is the best way, and the other believes that their way is the best way. So you have to come to some agreement around what things are we going to do to make our new home the new culture. And you have to come to some agreement around that. Those conversations can be a little challenging because they typically don't take place until after the fact.
Right.
When there's a crisis.
Right. when
it's too far gone. So we always tell, especially young couples, you have to set some norms. You have to spend time with each other. We date every week, and dating is not where you're spending an exorbitant.
And this is after you're married too. You
heard what I say. I go on a date every week. There's not a week that goes by that my husband and I do not have a date where we go somewhere. And I give this example. We date when we go to church.
That's right.
That's a date.
Okay.
That is a date. I'm going to spend time with the Lord, but I'm going with my husband. We are going together. We are, if we can, we both are leaders in our church, and we have, my husband is a deacon and I'm a deaconess. We don't always sit together all the time, but the times that we can, we're sitting together. This is I'm winking at him when he's passing by. We're dating.
Yes.
Even when you're out and about. And so I tell couples, you need to have some time every week where you're doing something. And a date does not mean, as I said, you have to spend a whole lot of money. There are times when we've dated in the house, where we've had a picnic in the house. There's times when we said, I'm getting home. You want to meet me out on the deck? And he said, we'll put something on the grill. Oh, I'm right behind you. I will be right there. So dating is spending time, having conversation, and we at least try to every day. We have about 15, at least 20 minutes where we're just winding down and having a conversation with how was your day, what's going on, so that we each can decompress and check in with each other every day.
And staying connected.
Yeah. We try to do as best we can a Bible study. We do. That is getting the word at least in the morning. Definitely having prayer together. It keeps the lines of communication open, because when the communication starts to break down, people fill in the blank with what they think is going on. And you have no way of knowing unless you just have a conversation around what really is going on. So communication is key. I always tell couples, forgiveness is a big deal.
Okay.
We are not perfect. I have not been perfect in my marriage, nor has my husband.
Okay.
And it's little things. It may be I was having a bad day and maybe my tone was not as it should have been. That's a piece of forgiveness.
Right.
People have to forgive on a day-to-day basis and know that as people are trying to do their best,
right.
you really do. You start your day over again.
Right.
You want the same forgiveness that I want God to have of me.
Right.
I want that grace. You have to have that for your spouse or significant other as well.
Okay. Now I know one of the things you said, that he's the cook in the family.
Oh, he is definitely the cook in the family. I did not pick up that trait. I did not pick up that trait at all.
Well, that's a good thing.
And here's what's interesting, because I tell people in the order in my house, it really would go Patrick first. His food is amazing. Then it would go to my children. And it depends upon what year you get to as to who's the best. My daughter is a great cook. My son is a great cook. My other son can cook. He doesn't cook as much, but my husband taught them all to cook. And his statement was, you may find a woman that doesn't cook like I did, so you better be prepared to be able to eat. I can cook. I can, but it's limited in what I do cook.
Right.
But no, he is definitely the cook.
But you're there helping.
I'm there helping.
That's
so
right. You're there chopping and
shopping. If he needs me to run to the store to go get something, that is my role. I like to stay in that lane. But when he is busy, And so if there's things that he's doing, I will kick in and cook. And
All right.
if he needs a meal, because he does it all the time.
Okay.
We laughed, actually, his birthday was this past February. And he looked at me and we were having a conversation. He said, man, you've never ever cooked me a meal on my birthday. And I went, I haven't? I said, oh, that's bad. That's 25 years, and I have never cooked you a meal. So I cooked him a meal this past for his birthday. Made everything from scratch, cake and all. And I can cook. It's just not.
That's not your forte.
It's not my thing. Yeah. And I'm glad it's his.
Well, I know one of the things as I was reading some of the things about you said you both strongly believe that the strength of the marriage is the foundation for the fruit of the family tree to bloom and to blossom.
Yes.
Can you tell us what kind of fruit will bloom on the tree if marriage is strong? What are
Yes.
some of the fruits that you think?
And so, as we all are part of our history and our
Okay.
past, and where we come from, one of the things that I talked about in the book, and I wanted to give history to that,
Okay.
was that my grandmother, my mother's mother, had been married and had been married a couple of times. And what happens is we bring our experiences with us. And so part of the book and the process of getting to queendom was giving my mother's story on how she raised us in terms of interacting with a spouse. And so when you look to, and I have two parents that are still married. My parents will probably be married 60 years coming up,
Praise
60 something. So
God.
they've been married and they've dated since they were 14 years old. So when I tell people that, they go, and I'll say this, and some of the
It's
lessons
amazing.
that is, because you don't hear that a lot.
That's
people
right.
that have been together. And one of the lessons that I do share with people, and I do believe that the strength of the family and marriage is really around the family. Because you bring what you have. And so I remember my mother and I having a conversation one time based around the men in my grandmother's life. My mother was very clear. You don't trust anyone. You don't trust a man. Always make sure that you're watching out because they will take advantage of you if they can. I have a father who is the total opposite of that. And my mother will tell you that he's probably been the best father you could ever want to have. So when you don't grow up with that experience, and I grew up with a father who, if I call him today, he's answering on my first ring. He has always been there.
Okay.
That shaped how I viewed and looked at men.
Okay.
And so that foundation of I've had a positive experience. When I talk to a lot of women who have not had a positive experience, and like my mother and I would have conversations, and and she'd say, and I'd say, Mom, I didn't have that experience. And she'd say, you're right, but I always want you to be aware of it. And so that's where I do share with couples, whatever experience you come from, which is why I say it's very excuse me, Jewels for Every Woman is so unique and individual because we have to always grow off of where we are. So even though that was my experience, and so even and I'm saying you have to grow your family. I don't care where you come from or what you've done in your life. God does not, you're not held to, that's the only path for you. His path is, I'm here for you 100% of the time, and no matter what you're going through, I'm going to carry you through. So the fruit of the family, as you sow seeds into your family and you sow seeds into relationship, you're going to harvest good fruit because you're sowing and tending to your seed. You're sowing into your harvest. And so that's why I say the foundation really starts from, if you did have a bad experience, we all have a choice to say, I'm going to do things maybe a little differently.
Right.
And I'm going to sow some seeds to lead down a different path. I've got
Okay.
to strengthen my garden by
Right.
sowing in some different seeds. And that's where
Okay.
I get into really this place of queendom living.
Okay.
Queendom living is about you're sowing your seeds. You are making a transformation from who you are,
Okay.
which when you talk about 2 Corinthians 3:18,
Right.
it literally gets into that transformation that God is working inside, because that transformation comes from the inside, and you work your way outside. And so that's why I use Proverbs for this book, because it really is talking about the virtuous woman, the type of woman that we all should be. We're not all there now. Heck,
Right.
I'm not there
Right.
now in all
Right.
places. But we are all working and striving, and these jewels help us get there. And as long as we're still working on how we should act and how we should function as a woman, it is going to strengthen our tree for generations to come.
Okay. Now let me ask you a question. I know Proverbs 31. Okay, the virtuous woman. She was married.
She was married.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about this because some people feel like well, she was married, that doesn't apply to
Oh,
me.
it applies.
Yeah, because
Oh.
she still was a woman.
She was a woman. She was a woman, and the things. So, and I get that too. People say, "Oh, is this for married women?" Oh no, this is for single women because
Right.
she was still a woman,
Right.
and you're getting the jewels from what she was living and
Okay.
how she was living, the way of life that we should live. She was a compassionate woman. You don't have to be married to be compassionate.
Okay.
She was kind. You don't have to be married to be kind. This
Okay.
gets into the heart of who we are as women.
Okay.
How we work, how we interact. Are we loving with people? We get into your tone with other people. In fact, one of the ladies who read the book, she called me and she said, I need you to help me with this. She said, because I struggle with my tone. She said,
Okay.
and I can be nasty. And I said, well, if you know it, right, knowing it is half the
That's
issue.
right.
Then what are you going
What are you gonna do about it?
every day to
Right.
not have that tone?
Right.
And so when she started talking, it was, well, these are the things that really work me over. And I said, and that's the piece of being Christ-like that we're always working on. I said, tone may be your issue. I may have another. We each have things that we have to work on, but we each get the opportunity to practice every day. And that was the piece. Are you practicing? Are you going to be perfect? No, we're not all perfect people. But at least you're practicing and you're aware of when that tone kicks in, and it's probably not at the level that it should be.
Okay. And see, using that as a framework, what it does for single women, I'm talking to you now, what it does for you is it sets a parameter. It's a foundation for you. So when you do get married, you're
yes.
already there.
You're already there. You've already
know?
started to work on some
Yes.
things. Yes.
Yes, you set the foundation. You know who you are. She was an industrious woman.
Yes.
You know, she got up early. You know, I mean, she was there for her family.
That's
you know,
right.
she sewed. She went to bed
That's
late.
it.
She got up.
She got up early. That's
you
it.
know, so she cared for her husband while he sat at the gate.
That's it. And that was a piece. Now that comes out quite a bit. I hear that and they go, but well, we get to decide if the man is great or not. I said, that's not what the words say. The men sit at the gate and the men
That's right.
tell you if the male is doing what he's supposed to do or not, if he's respected in the community. And one woman said, oh heck, I thought it was me. And I said, no, it's the men. I said, the word says the men sit at the gate. And they will share with you who is considered a leader in that community. And I said, and sometimes we don't listen to them. I said, sometimes we don't listen. We want what we want, and our flesh kicks in, and that may not have been the leader that you need to be with.
And the thing that him sitting at the city gate, it also says, I love this part. He spoke well of
He
her.
spoke well. That's right.
You know,
He
he
spoke well.
spoke well of his wife. He
That's
bragged
it.
on
He
her.
bragged on his wife. That's right.
Yes.
Because she was a good woman. And a
Wow.
good woman is about the work that we put in. It's the sacrifice. It is the sacrifice no matter what. And
It
I'll say
is.
this, and even for single women, mothers know that. If you equate it to how we sacrifice for our children. Let's be honest. We sacrifice. If something were happening to our kids, I don't know of one mother that would not give their life
That's right.
for their child, because it is a sacrifice. You go above and beyond for them no matter what is happening. You stay up late. If your child is sick in the middle of the night, let's be honest, you're staying up late with your child because you know your child needs you. It's the same process even in your family. Are you staying up late for your family? Are you going the extra mile for your family? And so when I talk about the fruit of the family tree and how it moves for generations, think about it. If you don't have that background of I am supposed to sacrifice for my family, then that tree can't bloom in that direction.
Okay.
It's hard for that tree to continue on because you didn't have that branch
Okay.
in your tree.
Okay.
And so that's where the conversation, and which is why you always need to connect with, I'll say this, senior women in the church, so that they can help you, that if there is a branch missing,
Right.
then you're getting guidance on. It doesn't mean that we can't add that to your tree.
Right.
But you
But
have
we
to
can
be able,
help you.
we can help you.
Yeah.
And we have to be, and so this is why I always say, I get this. What, did you call your friend? Is your friend your same age? Well, maybe your friend can't give you the advice that you need because she's
right.
going through the same thing you're going through. You may need a senior mentor,
Right.
senior woman that can
Right.
help you understand. I've been there and I've done that. Here's what it looks like, and this is how I can help you through.
Right, right, and that's very true. You know, we and thank God for the mothers that are still in the church. And thank God for the elderly that are still in the church. You know,
Yes.
we cannot do, you know, without that generation. And the younger people have to understand that the Bible talks about the older man. He has the wisdom, and the younger men have the strength.
That's it.
You know, and so there's wisdom.
There's wisdom
in a person that is older and
Oh,
more
my
mature
gosh, yes.
because we've lived twice.
Come on.
What you trying to do?
Come on.
What you trying to do one time?
Come on, come on, come on. And it's so let me say this, it is and you've hit it on the head. A lot of the younger women, what they struggle with, and think of the millennial group, I do a lot with their age group.
Okay.
And they tell me, they say, look, we have these questions, but we don't want to call our mothers and ask these questions of them because a lot of times they don't want their mothers in their business. So
Right.
it's funny because when they ask questions and I go, man, when did I shift over into this other group? But that is really a lot of the conversation of things that they don't know what to ask, or they don't feel comfortable asking in a certain environment because you don't want the people closest to you to know that you're going through
Right.
situations. We get a lot, and like I said, when my husband and I are supporting other couples, we do get a lot of people who say, what's your feeling on divorce? And our statement is, we will never ever tell anyone
Right.
to divorce. That is,
That's
and we
me.
won't tell them to or not to.
That's right.
That
That's
is,
right.
that's not a decision that
Right.
anyone
That's
can
right.
give to you. That's
right.
a decision that the person has to get to. And we always share with them, you don't make that decision in haste. You always make that decision very thoughtful, very prayerfully.
Yes.
I always say working with a pastor or seeing someone, be it a counselor or someone, to have sometimes those tough decisions or conversations that you
Right.
need to have.
Absolutely.
Because that is not for any one person to make for you.
Okay. Now let's hold this book up for a minute.
This book, Jewels for Every Woman.
The Jewels for Every Woman, a guide for queendom living. So, would you say that your father kind of groomed you for a higher expectation? Because you talk about that, so
I do.
we're gonna talk. Let's talk a little bit about that higher expectation that you should have as a woman.
Yes.
For the man that's about to enter into your life.
Yep. And I
Okay.
have a daughter. So my daughter is
Okay.
20,
Okay.
and she is reading this as well.
Okay.
Yes, I would say that I was groomed by both father and the mother.
Okay.
Because what I got from my father is his ear and counsel around how men think. And so even my girlfriends call me and I'll say, oh no, that's not what they'll say, my boyfriend or husband said this, and I said, that's not what he meant. And they said, oh my gosh. And they'll call me back and they'll say, you were right on. That is just what he meant. I think sometimes we miss the language. There's a different language for females, and there's very much a different language for men.
Absolutely.
They view the world very differently than how
And
we
we
view
think
the
out
world.
two different sides of our brains.
Yes, we do. And so because I am the baby, I was with my father quite a bit of the time.
Okay.
My mother was actually back in school with her friend, going to classes, so I spent quite a bit of my time with him in the evenings and on weekends. And like I said, my parents lived together, so it's not that my mother wasn't there, but
Right.
just I was with him. And so
Right.
when things would happen, and as parents do, something happens, and so he would always give well, Stephanie, this is why this is happening, and that man did it this way, and this is why this person did it this way. So I always heard both sides of the story.
Okay.
Which made it a little easier for me.
Okay.
And having high expectations. So I knew when I was dating, there were just some non-negotiables for me. My father took care of everything. So I didn't have to worry about, and basic things. You get the car door. That's a given. I sit and wait. So and that's what I learned. You have to, you as the woman controls how the man acts around you.
Say it one more time.
Okay, you as the woman controls how the man acts around you. And it is so simple. It's simple
Okay.
as getting a door. So if I know we're going to an event and he doesn't get the door, I'm standing. I'm not moving until he's able to come back. Here's what you have to be okay with. If that's such an issue for him to not get the door for you, then you have to be okay with, this isn't the guy that I need to date.
Okay.
Come on now, say that.
Okay.
That is when we have to say, we see the signs very early, but we settle.
Ah.
We settle. And sometimes we go, I'd rather have less than just to have someone around than
A
to
half a man.
There you go. I can't live in half.
That's it.
I don't like a half a glass of water. I don't like a half a sandwich. When I eat a sandwich, I want
Half
to eat
a paycheck?
I want half a paycheck. So let's go there. Nobody wants a half a paycheck. We want every bit of our
That's
full
it.
paycheck. And so yes, so that is where we set the stage. And someone so interesting. There's a young man who that I'm connected to right now. He's a young kid, about 20, and he said, "I wasn't raised to do that."
But chivalry is not dead.
It's not dead, and
It's still very much alive.
it is still very much alive. And he said, I wasn't raised, and he said, and this is new for me. I've got to learn how to do
Gotta
this.
learn.
And so remember, as the woman, if I'm standing there waiting for you to get the door, that's a simple thing. You can walk back to get the door. I'm not going to get out of my car until you come get the car door, because you're there as a man to take care of me. Now remember, we talked about this virtuous woman. She was working hard. It wasn't that she wasn't working. There's a give and take to it. There's a way you're going to take care of me as the man, and there's a way I'm going to take care of you as a woman. And that is very different in every relationship, because every relationship has a different need. It's like the cooking, and I share with people, I don't have to cook because Pat loves it. But
Okay.
there's other things that he needs from me. So when he's cooking, I need to be in the kitchen with him.
Okay.
Whereas my sister cooks everything. Her husband does not cook, so she is the cook.
Okay.
But there's other things that she has to do in her marriage that's
Right.
different than what I have to do.
Right.
Because every marriage is
It's
unique.
different.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So, okay, so we used Proverbs 31 as the blueprint to describe the jewels. Okay. So tell us, you made a statement that you're not trying to take over the kingdom, the man's territory, but to be respected in your queendom.
That's right.
Your
That's right.
queendom. So let's talk a little bit about your queendom and what that means.
So Aretha said it best many years ago.
Okay.
All she was looking for is some respect.
Okay.
RESPCT. That's what
Okay.
she was looking for. We missed that. We're not trying to take away the man's role in being the man
Okay.
and in the kingdom.
Okay.
I respect a man in his kingdom. When a
Okay.
man is doing everything that they're supposed to do, taking care of their family, doing all of that, no queen should have any issue with the man being in and managing his kingdom. I look for the king to have a respect for the queen in the kingdom. It's like we talked about. He
Right.
talks about his wife.
Right.
He talks about with the leaders that he loves his wife.
Right.
He reveres his wife. That's the piece of living in your queendom. I'm not here to run the kingdom. We're here to work together.
Right.
Watch this. In the kingdom and the queendom. And as long as we're able to work together, everything is nicely aligned. As long as you're respecting who I am, and you are loving me, and knowing that I am the first thing. God is the first thing that comes,
Right.
and then I'm next.
Right.
Guess what? You are managing your kingdom and doing it well, and I'm going to respect every bit of that. Where we lose sight of that, and let me say this in the queendom.
Okay.
So let's go there.
All right.
Because when you're walking in your queendom, and I tell this even to my children, and I love my children. I have 3 of them, love them to death.
Okay.
But I'm very clear in the order that I share how I live. God, my husband,
That's right.
and then the children.
And then the children. Okay. Say that one more time.
God, my husband,
Okay.
and then the children.
Okay. Now, women, you cannot put your children
Oh,
in the place of where your husband is.
and
you can't do that.
You can't. And unfortunately, we do. And that disrupts the queendom.
Cause chaos.
Because chaos, when you don't have
Things is
order
out of
and
order.
system, things are out of order, because your children are just that. Your children. They're going to leave the house just like I left
That's
my
right.
house.
That's right.
And moved in with my husband as a husband and wife. My children are going to do the same. I had an outstanding mother-in-law, Melva Barrage. She's from Mississippi. She died over 17 years ago. My youngest son never had an opportunity to see his grandmother, but I couldn't have asked for a better mother-in-law than her. And she was dynamic. She was a woman of God, and she was very clear. When Pat and I got married, her statement, in fact, she called me one day and she said, did Patrick have a conversation with you about this? And I said, no, we haven't had a conversation. This is early in our marriage. She said, put him on the phone. And she said, Patrick, you called me today and had a conversation with me about this. She said, I'm your mother, not your wife. She said, I'm the second person that should get that information. Your wife is the first. And she went to scripture. She said, a man is to cleave to his wife. And said, you don't call me. She said, now you didn't do it in their will.
Right.
She said, but I've got to help you all understand. This is your wife, and you start there first. Now, couldn't ask for a better mother-in-law than that. And I was sitting there going, oh, Mom, it really isn't a big deal. I'm okay. She said, that's not the point.
Order.
She was setting order. She was setting what the blueprint is supposed to look like. And so I say that to say we get into issues of who is really on point. And the word says, when a man and a woman come together, God has put them together. We've come before the families. We've done all of that.
Right.
Then we have to support them as a unit. And they leave the unit of their extended family. They're there for support, but that's it, support. If you're not supporting, then you're not helping what God has brought together.
Right.
And unfortunately, we get out of order when we put the children ahead of things.
Yeah. Or our extended family.
Or our extended family.
My mother said this.
That's it. And guess what? And that may work over here, but let's be honest, in the unit, it is about that unit, and that unit God put together. And so no matter what, and it says that no man can put us under what God has put together. So we do, because we get out of order. Our family trees and functions get out of order, and so we have to come back in a line.
That's it.
And you have to show people, here's where it talks about this in the Word. This is how the blueprint of marriage. This is the blueprint of how we're supposed to function. So and my kids are funny because they try to maneuver and manipulate us as well. But we always come together and go, let me bring you all in here.
Well, give us your website. Give us where they can find this book, this wonderful book, Jewels for Every Woman, a guide for queendom living.
Yep.
You know, this is great.
And the website is queendomliving.com. It's www.queendomliving.com. I actually do a Facebook every Wednesday called Wednesday Wisdom Word. So you can go to Facebook and look up Queendom Living. And that is my gift to women. I try to give an uplifting word every week. In fact, I'll do one today. And just so that women have a word. And I try to deal with things that women are going through, just every day. We go through a lot.
Yes.
Things that people, women don't always want to talk about. So I just try to uplift and say, you know what, you're on the right path. If you don't feel like you're on the right path, let me help you get to the right path. Here's what God has ordained for you. Here's what God has for you. I want women to have a good word every week.
Now, where's the book? Where can you find the book?
You can go on my website and get the book from the Queendom Living. That's where I really push people to go to Queendom Living and get it, and we'll ship it out immediately. You can go to Amazon. You can go to Life Rich Publishing. So it is a published book. You can go to Amazon, Life Rich. There are bookstores throughout. You can go to any bookstore. If you are with Barnes and Nobles, you can go to Barnes and Nobles, and they will order the book. So there's not a place that you can't go to get the book. If it's not there, just have them order it.
All right. Well, women, to have a book like this in your possession, and when you have tools, and tools are very important when you're trying to do anything. If you got Google. When you want to know something, you Google it, okay? But books like this are books that will give you instructions, and books like this will give you some tools that you can have, that you can go back and say, okay, let me grab this and let me find out, how am I doing good? You can kind of grade yourself.
You can. In the back, I put in the back of every chapter there are questions, just reflection questions, and then there are questions, scripture. I want to make sure people had scriptures for helpful study. I know when I was early on in my word, and someone would ask me for a scripture, and I was like, I don't know, I'm learning. And so that was early on, and so I wanted to make sure that no matter where you were at in this process, you were able to reflect, give some personal reflections, and then have scriptures to show you where that conversation and that word was coming from.
One of the entries in the book that I just finished, and it will be published pretty soon. Yes, I am. My book is coming out in about September. I should have everything done. But one of the entries, because my book has different entries in it, it's an inspirational, motivational book for women, sort of on the line of Daily Bread. Okay. And so one of the entries increase in it is that there's a queen in you.
Oh, there is.
And a lot of us, don't know that there is a queen that resides in us. And so we have to bring our expectations up.
That's it.
We have to bring ourselves up to a place where we, can respect ourselves first as to who we are. And I said in the book, don't get the prince. Wait on the king.
Wait on the king. Ooh, that's right. That's right.
Don't settle for the prince
Or the court jester.
Yes.
Yeah, you want the king.
That's it. You want to be the queen because God is the king. And he rules and reigns. And so he's looking for some queens that will rule and reign in the territory that he has given us. So women, don't settle. Don't get the prince. Don't get the pauper. Get the king that God has for you because he has someone. If you're willing to wait.
That's it.
And ask God, is this the man? Ask him. Pray about it. Don't rush into it. And get the man because once it's done, then you're sorry. And so we are just trying to give you some advice, some wisdom today. And we're just bringing you this book, this Jewels for Every Woman. And she has T-shirts, is that correct?
Oh, yeah. I have Queendom Living T-shirts. You can go on the website. And
all right.
I sell out of these T-shirts all the time. Literally. I'm on a back order. I've got some right now. I just did a new order. These T-shirts go. People love them, so they are Queendom Living. I have them in different colors. I have them in purple. I have them in pink. I have different crowns. When the women tell me they want something, I get them what they want, so we do different colored crowns. We meet their needs. So Queendom Living.
All right.
You can go on the website, www.queendomliving.com, and you can order them from there.
All right, so you can get your T-shirt, you can have your book, and hey, and become this queen that God really wants you to be, and rule and reign in your territory, in your sphere that God has for you. You can rule and reign, and you can be the best that you can be for yourself first.
Yes.
Okay, we want you to be the best that you can be for yourself first, and if you're the best for yourself, then when that king comes along, you'll be even better because now you have met that person that God has for you, and the two of you all can rule in your territory.
Yes.
So we just thank God for all that. I mean, this is just so good. So, okay, let's go back to. Can you tell us some of the jewels?
Oh, sure.
Okay, tell us some of the jewels.
Sure. So, jewels that we have. Compassion is definitely a jewel.
Okay.
That is that's a big jewel.
Okay.
Being compassionate.
Okay.
We have to, as women, we work at compassion.
Okay.
That's something. Being trustworthy. Can people really trust your word? When you say that you're going to do something, do I know for sure that you are trustworthy?
Okay.
Constant in her love.
Constant in her love.
That's another challenging one. Even when things get bad, are you still going to be constant in your love to someone?
Okay.
Because things get tight. We all have situations. Wait, we have family members where we go, oh goodness, I'm ready.
That's
to throw
where
them
forgiveness.
out. That's where forgiveness happens, and that's what it's about. It doesn't mean that people don't put you in a situation where you've been wrong, but are you really able to forgive them and still keep moving forward? Because forgiveness is not for them. Forgiveness is for you.
That's it.
Forgiveness is for you. And we all have situations where people have done things to us that we go, how did we get here? Really? Forgiveness is for you. And that's that constant in her love that you can still continue on and still work through that process.
Wow.
That's a hard one.
Okay.
Being willing to work hard and long hours.
Okay.
When you're committed, if you're going to start something, do you finish it? Are you a finisher?
Okay.
Do you get up in the morning? If you know that things still need to be done, laundry needs to be done. Let's be honest, we don't always like to do laundry or the things that are surely not fun. But you know that if your family needs it, that you're going to still get up maybe an hour ahead of them to make sure that their day is a little easier.
Okay.
An entrepreneurial spirit and future planning. Are you planning for your family? Are you preparing for the future? Are you just living by the seat of your pants every day, or are you really preparing?
Okay.
Married to a leader. Now that one, I have a group of questions that I ask, that I think every woman should ask someone that they're interested in if they're going to date them. And so some of them are.
Now, this is even before you get married. This is when you date.
This is before you get married.
Okay.
This is when you are dating.
Okay.
And I want to know, you remember the old families used to say, who are your parents?
That's right.
Who are your parents? Where are you from?
And you're marrying them. That's it.
That's it.
You're
marrying
marrying
them.
the family.
Are your parents married?
Yes.
Or divorced? You want to know that because remember, people bring baggage from whatever it is that they
That's
have
right.
lived through. What is their story? Do you have siblings? Do you like your siblings? Where are you in the lineup? If you're married to a first child, guess what? They're used to taking care of everybody. They're tired. That's what they normally do. If you're married to the baby of the family, the babies get away with everything. Oh, I'm a baby too, so I understand. I can speak on that. You get away with everything because guess what? As the baby, everyone had to take care of you. I remember my mother would say, everybody get ready. And somebody make sure Stephanie got her stuff together. So Stephanie would always sit there and go, well, I'm going to wait here till they get done. And so they can come take care of me. So, yeah, that's how that works. If you are a male, describe how you feel about your mother. If you are dating someone that does not care for their mother, that is not someone that I think you need to date.
Wow.
Because if they don't care for their mother, they're not used to taking care of women. So how can they take care of you? That is your first example on how you interact with the woman, which is your mother.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, now that's a big
Because
one.
if you don't like your mother, and you don't respect her,
then how are you going to respect me? Because then you're not respecting women. Same thing on the father. If you don't respect your father, then how can you even respect the man that you're marrying? Because you're going to bring that with
Right.
them.
Okay.
What is your current relationship with your father? That's very important. Are
Okay.
you employed? Do you like to work? Some people don't like to work.
okay.
What is your family medical history? That
Okay.
touched me in my own household. My daughter became a diabetic before she was 1 because diabetes runs in the family. Now, Pat and I had these conversations up front because his mother was a type 1 diabetic. We thought it stopped with his generation.
Okay.
What we found out is the men don't get it, and he has brothers. It's the females in their family who get it. So we asked the wrong question. I should have asked a different question.
Okay.
Who's a diabetic in the family outside of your mom?
Okay. So you need to know medical
So you need
history.
to know medical history. Have you ever dated someone of the same gender? That is a big question,
Okay.
especially in today's time. Have you made a gender change from what is listed on your birth certificate?
Okay.
That's a
Yeah,
question.
you right in this generation.
You gotta ask that
I
question.
had to stop and
You had to
think
stop
about
for a
that.
second.
Wait a minute.
Have you made a gender change from what is listed on your birth certificate? Because you have parents who are having their children make changes at 5, you wouldn't know that the child was anything other than what you see them today. But you need to see a birth certificate,
Okay.
okay? Do you have children and how many? Do you pay child support? Have you had to work through the penal system for child support? Those are important questions. What is your relationship with your child's mother? What is your relationship with your child's father? Have you been married before and how many times? What's your plans for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years? These are questions that doesn't matter age.
Okay.
Have you ever dated someone outside of your race? What were the positive aspects you gained from that relationship? What is your dream job? Do you have a spiritual foundation? That's important. What is your FICO score?
Okay. Wow. Well, I tell you,
That's
by the time you get through with all of this, I'm telling you, that is really, really important. I mean, I wish some of these things that you were saying that I had some advice like this. At that time, and yes, I am divorced, but long time ago. But
It helps.
Yeah,
It helps.
And things like this. I mean, people don't realize how important that it is to have this kind of advice, to have this foundation. And
Yes.
we'd have, I'm not saying that divorce still won't happen because yes, sometimes things do happen
That's
in
right.
a marriage.
That's right.
Things
Things
abuse
happen.
would
That's
happen.
right. That's
but
right.
if you have a solid foundation, what the word say? Build your house on the solid foundation. So
That's
when
it.
the rains come and the winds come,
That's
the
it.
house can stand.
That's it.
So we know the storms of life
'Cause
is
they're gonna
going
come.
to happen.
They're going to come.
That's the part of life. Even if you're by yourself,
That's it. No, watch this. Amen.
nobody escapes.
No one escapes
Yes.
it.
And so, but these things, we just want you to know that we love you.
Yes.
I brought Stephanie here because I knew that this book was something not only for you, but it's for me as well. Okay. And this is just so good. So tell them one more time before we go.
You can get this book at Queendom Living, www.queendomliving.com. If you want to go to Amazon, you can get it there. If you want to go to any bookstore, you can have them order it. You can go to, like I said, Amazon, Life Rich. I like I said, I love to talk on this. So if there's book clubs that are out there, I speak at a lot of book clubs. Just to be able to talk with women, go to Wednesday Wisdom Word on Facebook. You can. That's my gift to women. I have men that follow it too. They say they follow it to get advice for them as husbands.
Hey.
So I have a male following as well.
I'm waiting on the king too. So
and watch this, amen, because I get words on that. I will be at Juneteenth. They have a Juneteenth
Yes.
program, or not program, Juneteenth here in Detroit. I will be at the Juneteenth with a booth, so I will be there as well. And God is good. I'm just grateful that He was able to pour this into me to give to others.
Okay. Now, you were a recent recipient, just before we go, of the Michigan Chronicles
Yes.
Women of Excellence.
That is true. Yes, I was so excited. Thank you very much. That honor was just for me probably one of the best honors that I could have received. Just dynamic women that were being honored. I sit there and go, "Who am I in this group?" But it was just dynamic women throughout the area. So I was very pleased and honored to receive that award.
Well, great. Well, we are just so happy to have had you here.
Thank you.
I just recently met her at a book.
Yes,
we were
book
at
event,
book
Northwest,
event,
yes.
yeah. And I was just so happy. And this was my author's month, so I wanted her to come among the other authors that I've had for this month. But this is just so life-changing,
Thank you.
Stephanie.
Thank
and
you.
I just thank God. Is this your first book?
This is my first book.
Wow.
Yes, first book, and it has been awesome. Just having the platform to be able to speak to women
Yes.
and couples has been just
Yes.
awesome for me.
Well, this is a great book, and I believe that other women, groups, and circles, should have you here and have you there, and be a part of, just being a speaker. And so we just thank God for this book and for what God has poured into you.
Thank you.
That is very foundational from the scriptures, from the Word of God. And so we just, thank you again for
Thank you.
coming to the Marketplace Connection and talking. You got any new books coming up
Well,
again?
I'm working on a book right now. Actually,
Okay.
it's going to be the Wisdom Wednesday Word.
Okay.
A lot of the people that have read this have asked that I do one for the college girls, and I'm
Okay.
going to do one for the college girls, and I'm going to do one for the teens.
Okay.
Jewels for every teen and jewels for every college woman. Also planning on having a Queendom Living conference, probably next year, 2018.
Okay.
So
We'll be
love
there.
to have you. I was
That's
going to say we'd love
right.
to have you. We're in the
Yes.
works for that. And just trying to live the best life that I can every day, and thank God that I get up every morning, that He allows me to have breath, life, and the ability to speak on His word.
All right. Well, this has been the Marketplace Connection. And as we always say every week, that we try to bring you the best. We try to bring you information that would upgrade your thinking, enhance you, to expand you so you can leap into your destiny. And so this has been a great broadcast for you women and for men. I'm sure you can learn a lot from this as well, for when you're waiting on that woman that God has for you as well. So it works both ways.
Yes.
And so we just thank God for Stephanie Barrage and her book, Jewels for Every Woman, a guide for Queendom Living. And so thank God for you, my listening and viewing audience, wherever you are in whatever the part of the world that you're in. We thank you every Saturday only on the Worship Detroit Radio. And we are here every week bringing you good news that enhance your life, because this as well can be a stream of income for those of you that are looking to be authors or aspiring to be authors. This is a way that you can get your story out there.
Yes.
And so we just thank you for listening. We will see you again next Saturday, and we are looking forward to being with you again on the Worship Detroit Radio and the Marketplace Connection. Have a great, fantastic weekend, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Marketplace Connection. Join me each week on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. on Worship Radio Detroit.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can.